What's up, guys? Jared on an Island here. Today we're going to be talking about a little something about friendship and what it means. I got this idea from a Godis video. If you know him, that's great. He says something that we all know is true. Friendship is forever. That's the first thing we're taught. Friendship is forever. Is that true? Well, he claims in a natural sense it is true, but we live in such an unnatural world. Most of our friendships is based off trauma bonding. And I do agree with that. Most friendships today are just you getting along with someone because of the inadequacies and the negatives of life, or whatever you're doing to cope with those facts. True friendship is something that you build together and you work off each other's successes. Most people today, when they hang out with their friends, all they're doing is spending time trying to avoid or cope with the fact that they are essentially slaves. If you were to think about humans back in their sense of tribes, what would friendship look like then? If you had major disagreements with the 100 other people in your tribe, you would most likely be expelled from the tribe itself, have to go live on your own. You don't really get room to pick and choose who you'd live around in a small community. You'd have to see them every day. You'd have to work with them. So your only option would be to have each other for success, not for the sole purpose of coping with life. This is why you don't really become best friends with your coworkers, as you see, because the only commonality between you two is the struggle of work. You don't really get to see each other build a sense of community around your life. And you may say, well, let's take the natural sense of building off each other's success and try to apply it to today. Wouldn't that make you just business partners? I would say no, because your first priority as a business partner isn't the business itself, it's the monetary reward from the business. That's why you have the business in the first place and why both you and the business partner are participating in it together. It isn't for the business itself, it's for what the business can bring you. And in a tribal community sense, you are working for the overall tribe. You aren't working for your own specific gain. This is why systems of power, like having a king or having a tribal leader, was somewhat natural to us in our early foundation of tribal society, because we could detect when a tribe leader was working solely for his own gain and when he was working for the community. And we're almost naturally inclined to these systems of power because we know that a tribal leader isn't going to work just for himself. He's going to work for his overall community. And that's what makes him a good leader. But when we see someone like a CEO, we understand that their priority is really themselves first. And we can sense this difference in attitude and priority by how we see, even now, public opinion for people in those positions. If you really look into CEOs, they often switch companies. They have no real allegiance to their company. They may care about company culture because of how it affects their monetary reward, but they don't really care about what they're building unless they are a founder. And even then, it still is secondary to what the business is rewarding them with. So when this comes to friendship, you have to look and see, are my friends people that actually get and support my goals, or are they just people that I feel similar to because of my struggles? And if you are unsure, if you don't know, if you think, oh, well, what's so bad about that still? Let's really see if you care about your friends. Do you know what their goals are? Do you know where they want to end up? Do you know what they want to do with their life? Because I'm sure you know every detail about your favorite influencer. I'm sure you love picking at your influencer's mind. You love being parasocial with them. You love hearing about their creative ideas or the little things about them in their videos, but you don't do the same with your friends. If your favorite influencer shared a Spotify playlist, you'd listen to it. Would you listen to your friend's playlist the same way? Probably not. Now, why aren't your friends like your favorite influencers? Why don't you genuinely care about them? I think my closest friends, and I think this is a lot easier for guys than girls to have this relationship, but my closest friends are people I do care about their goals with, and I care about their true opinions on things, their true creative opinions. This has to be filtered out, of course, because there's a lot of friends I had, especially when I had to be forced in an environment with them, coworker friends, school friends that I was just acquaintances with. And as a man, I still consider them friends. I'm still there for them, but I don't care about them on the same level that true friendship is. Men tend to have the word friendship float freely with anyone they're on good terms with, which is understandable. But true friendship, best friends are forever. You care about each other's success. So you should ask yourself, do I even know my friends' goals? Do I care to know? If you do, then those may be true friends to you. But if you don't care, or if you think they don't care enough, you gotta let them go, honestly. They probably don't care. They really are thinking of themselves first, which isn't a problem, but they don't care to take that extra step to help you succeed. Because when your true friend succeeds, you benefit as well. That's a part of community success. That's picking all of you, like each other up, right? But when you have the idea of friendship today, it creates a crabs in a bucket scenario. And this isn't intentional by them, but by doing things like, and this is going to be controversial, but going out drinking every weekend, you aren't helping your friend work towards a goal. You aren't getting any closer to your goal, and you are both keeping each other down because you're coping with the fact that you feel the need to drink. If you drink and you say, well, I'm socializing, I'm networking, there's some sort of positive benefit for me and my friend, then maybe it doesn't apply to you. I really doubt that, though. Most people it does apply to. Different scenarios, smoking weed. You're really not helping yourself doing that. You really aren't. Video games, it can be either or. You have to be honest with yourself, look from an outside perspective. Do me and my friend play video games to avoid something? There is a time for entertainment there, and you should go 110% into relaxing or entertaining yourself at certain times. But there's also another time to say, but we're coping. We should be doing something else. This isn't helping us get to our goals, in that we're trying to escape from this cage we're living in. And this is a larger topic about becoming a non-fearful rat. It doesn't mean that just because you're no longer afraid of the cage you're in doesn't mean you're outside of the cage. You still have to figure out how to open the door of the iron bars, right? But this is a good way to say, this is the brainwashing that's keeping me from even realizing I'm in a cage. That's the whole idea of the Matrix. It's kind of a cringe stereotype, but until you notice the things off, you aren't gonna know you're in the Matrix, right? You need to be aware enough to notice the off things. If you're gonna be stuck in this cage and not even realize it, if you pay attention right now, you will notice that they cover up the cage. They try to make it seem all nice and happy. It's kind of like that movie with the glasses where he starts seeing the truth of what things really are. It's propaganda. It's this idea of woke positivity just constantly, even when you feel something is off. Obviously, because you're watching this video, you felt something off at one point or another. I really doubt you'd be watching this if you were completely asleep still. If you were, you'd be watching Marvel Big Bang Theory, like just completely, or sports, or just be completely okay with it. But obviously you don't feel that way. So how do you meet real friends? Well, when you introduce yourself to somebody, when you come in connection with somebody, you have to immediately figure out who and what they are. If they're someone that's based off their coping mechanisms, then they're probably not going to be fit to be a friend. Another thing, their potential for themselves is a key indicator of whether or not they can be friends. If they are struggling, that's completely okay. Nobody is asking for you to only have successful friends, and I don't think you should. because it isn't about success. Success isn't a race to a finish line that you have to finish in a certain time. Just because someone is successful more now at a certain age doesn't mean that they're doing life right, okay? Example, someone that is extremely wealthy now can still be a complete slave in their mind, because even the most wealthy people now are still controlled by this overall higher power of society and, like, I want to almost say like societal demons, okay? Now, someone that's in the trenches is more than likely not going to uh, be a positive influence because they have so much like trauma and attack hitting them that they're most likely not going to be more awake than not awake. For example, people who work at what we consider like low end jobs, right? They are the ones that fit the idea of slave the most. And it isn't their fault. It's just that they have been bombarded with these attacks on them forever, and it's just them. They are having cognitive dissonance. And this is what many of us experience when, no matter where you are on the scale, but they're going to be targeted more because they need to be kept more asleep. For example, poorer people, they tend to have like more fixations on drama, relationship drama, having baby mamas and stuff like that. And, that keeps their mind preoccupied from the fact that of the situation they're living in. You could say this is an IQ thing as well. It's about being able to see the opportunity of escape from it. And you got to just be aware of that. I'm just speaking generally here. But when you see someone that is able to at least articulate their own ideas and not try to just regurgitate things that they've seen, then you can say, you know what, that person has the potential to be a true friend. Even though we may be on two completely different paths, we are still able to use each other as inspiration for ourselves and maybe potentially work together. I mean, if you're two creative people are always able to recognize and appreciate each other's creative ability. So that in itself is a sign of true friendship. And this ability that men have, especially to be friends with somebody for, or like how I said, okay, well, you can be an acquaintance with somebody and always be on good terms with them. This is even more true for true friends and true natural friendship, because even though you're on two completely different paths and maybe going towards two completely different goals, you're still able to recognize when or where you can help each other and build that community, even though you're on two completely different paths, because you're still aligned with a true healthy goal, which is natural. Like, both of you are trying to create something better for the world. And when you get the sense of being unsure, you get that gut sense of feeling where you feel kind of helpless in terms of helping them, then that's where you can reevaluate and say, okay, is what they're doing truly natural or helpful to their cause or what they're trying to do? And you can help them reevaluate with that as well. Just by asking simple questions, just picking at their brain. Most people who are already in the sense of creative control are able to see flaws more easily when they are honest with themselves and have someone that they trust honestly. If you do have a true friend now, you are able to see this because you're able to talk openly with them about anything, and they aren't going to take it harshly, or at least when they reevaluate it later on, maybe in the day or whatever else, they think about the intention of why you said it, and they understand that it was most likely coming from a positive place. And if it wasn't, they understand everyone's weak too. You should understand even your true friends are going to have moments of weakness, because we live in such a dystopian targeted world. They're going to have moments of weakness, and that's just empathy to our environment. But true friendship in itself is a powerful thing. This is why I don't consider my subscribers or followers just followers. You're a part of a tribe, okay, with me, and I take your opinions and your advice very seriously. Obviously, I have to filter out when you guys are struggling from the modern world as well. But you like the community is a source of inspiration for me, and it should be for you too. Um, that's why I encourage you to also create the same way I do or in your own way. I want to support that. So if you have something interesting, you may not think it's that good, but share it in this community with me, and we will appreciate it at the very minimum. Um, even something as small as drawing is like, I see people on Twitter, they're not necessarily artists, but they draw for fun. That's a source of inspiration. Like, I love seeing that you put in the time to do something that you enjoy. That's like creating something as small as arts and crafts, as small as photography, as small as making memes. Like, these little things add up. So I appreciate it. And I hope that you're able to gain this appreciation for creation like I'm seeing myself. Let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe because we are going to grow together. All right. Peace, guys.